Good afternoon. Welcome to Nigeria Now and Equa Television, where we keep you updated with the happenings in the country presently. I am Sarah Elisha Dasho. You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Drop your comment, your views, and your perspective concerning some of the matters we will be bringing to the table this afternoon to discuss. And I'll be doing the program alongside Rachel Tanzi. Good afternoon, Rachel. All right, let us, before we get into the matters for the day, just let you know that Tinubu has approved the policy to retain medical experts within Nigeria. We are aware of the JAPA syndrome, and he has passed a policy stopping our medical practitioners to actually leave the country so that we can have them back here in the country. And then, Richard, I just can't help but wonder, it has to get to the point where we need to have a policy putting our grounds on the floor, or our legs on the floor, rather, to see the fact that, you know what, henceforth, our medical practitioners will stop leaving the country. They need to stay back because we really, really need their help. But I think we've said this a number of times, the fact that it's not just enough to have a policy that will actually stop our medical practitioners from leaving. But then what is the government doing in its own part to make sure that everything that is needed, talking about the equipment for them to work so that they don't feel that they are underused, as well as making sure that we have adequate hands, because these doctors are being overused in the hospital. Until you actually go to the hospital, then you will appreciate our medical practitioners, honestly, all our caregivers. You really, really know that they're doing a lot, and there's a need for the government to look at that angle and do something about it. But let's keep our fingers crossed. The president has approved that policy to retain them back, so we hope that the policy has all that is needed for them to be able to say, okay, yes, we will stay back in the country and not leave, Nigeria to another country.
So we don't have to go far to wait and know what this policy holds for us as Nigerian citizens. It is a bad policy, Sele. If we are going to be honest about this policy, it is not a good one. You don't put policies as such when a sector needs a complete overhaul. It doesn't solve any problem. It worsens it on a lot of levels, because now, if we've had doctors having the option to pick, okay, you know what, we can leave the country if the government will not listen to us. Now we cannot leave. We go on strike. We don't show up. We don't do our jobs diligently. We might start having more fatalities in the hospital than before. We will start having more problems. It's better to have those who would stay against all odds, regardless of what is going on, who would diligently, to some extent, do their job because they have chosen to say that, have people forcefully, most especially when it comes to the medical field, because this is a very sensitive, this is a life or death sector. True. Whether we like it or not, that is what it is. This is where people's life hangs on the capacity, the capability, the mental health of doctors and medical practitioners, the willingness and all of that. So it's not a good policy. Why do the Nigerian government not tackle a problem as it is, but rather beat around the bush and often comes up with a worse solution, a very, very bad solution, as a matter of fact? But we'll just wait and see. We just have to hope for the better. But some policies, you already know that it spells doom on
of course.
Of course. But I just hope that above doing that, this should be the step to doing more. But this is cutting corners rather than solving the problem as it is.
Honestly, because just yesterday we were discussing some of the challenges we are having, and I will say that one of it is the fact that not only do we have short hands, the fact that equipment are not ready. I told you of a friend that went to donate blood and there were no bags. Just yesterday, I got to talk with the patient in the hospital, and she was told that during the CS, the doctor mistakenly punctured her intestine, and he didn't know, and then he sewed her up. On getting home, that was when it was realized that the intestine was already getting rotten. So just imagine if there was no immediate, fast, attention to that. We'll end up losing a mother with a 2-month-old baby. So you could see that the number of things need to be done, and all of this can boil down to the fact that the doctors are tired. They'll just do what they can do, and of course. So I hope that this policy, even though they're saying it's more like to manage and enhance some of our medical practitioners back in the country, but I hope that it will not be in a way that will stop them. We saw what happened, I think, during the Buhari regime, where we saw a minister saying if they want to go, they can go. And then with what we are facing, so we look forward to seeing better things being done. Now, and away from the health sector, let's take a look at what's happening at the education sector. Just yesterday, we saw where YX they have finally released the 2024 results, and they actually say some of the steps that is needed to follow. Now we're seeing that over 200,000 students' results have been withheld, and basically just because of malpractice. And this is not the first time we're hearing the issue of malpractice. It's because we've seen whereby teachers are as well are tired, and no wonder we're having people cutting corners, and that is why we're having the issue of malpractice. And it baffles me because it keeps increasing by the year. Every year we see a higher number of students getting involved in malpractice. We have where it's being called passing centers, where people prefer to even register there than to register in their school and all of that. We've had where parents will withdraw their words from school and register them in those passing centers. And we are not helping, our future leaders, permit me to say that, because we keep having people who are not ready to face the challenge. You see where someone, okay, just imagine after you have passed through all of that, and then you are meant to study medicine, for example, and you clearly mentioned the fact that it's a do or die affair when you come to the health sector. It's a sector that we need people that are willing and ready. And this is just an eye-opener to the fact that this is just in the secondary school. We see that even happening even at tertiary institutions, whereby people prefer to go through the pass. But here we're seeing WAEC have taken it upon itself to withhold these results because of the issue of, malpractice and all of that. Teachers enabling, even the WAEC officials being involved. I think we saw where some of the officials were being probed because they're involved in all of that. But it is what it is, even though some are yet to see their result because of some, technical hitches and all of that. But then for those who results have been withheld because of the issue of malpractice, I think we need to do more concerning this issue of malpractice during WAEC and even NICO as well.
Malpractice is as old as the whole entire WASC itself. I think it started on the very day it started in the first place, because malpractice is just simply, whether as simple as asking someone for the answer in an exams hall is malpractice. We don't have to talk about the extreme case of malpractice, as little as it might be. Now the question is, what have they done over the years to reduce it? That is where it shows if we are making progress. It's not about year in, year out withholding results of candidates. And this is not a solution. It have not solved it. And because you're able to get 215,000, or there are about 250 something thousand candidates, there's a 300,000 that scaled through and did practice and did have malpractice during their exams. It doesn't solve the problem. And as far as I'm concerned, this keeps taking us back to the point where our education system needs a revamp. It needs so much work, because we might joke about this offset, off camera and all of that, and say certain things like we write WAEC, we write NECO, we write NAPTEP, we write JAM, we write at least a minimum of 3 to 4 examinations depending on what you want to do.
And then we have external.
We have all of that, and we are still inventing nothing in this country. We're still inventing nothing. We're still reducing our cutoff point for JAM every time. We're reducing the number of credits. When I wrote WAEC, the credit was there, but you have to have up to 6 or 7 credits. And now it's down to 5. There was once a time you have to have math and English
compulsory,
but I think now, I don't know whether it's just maths or it's with English, or depending on why we keep saying that the issue is not in the examination. It's in our entire educational system, and we don't want to. We rather take the easy way out, which is just cancelling or withholding certain results of candidates and all of that. But has it solved it? Because there are 200,000 that are being caught, while we probably have double that number that didn't get caught. So are we really making headway regarding it? why don't we sit down and see the future of education as it is and begin to do the work right now? Because this will not change. The following year it will come. These students, some might get lucky, they will get cleared, they will eventually see their result. But you know what? These people now will have to write external, and that is where the malpractice happen more.
It's worse in that place.
Exactly. So why are we not having a system where exams or tests are not what they are, and we have people passing and moving with their health knowledge and don't have to worry about coming back to receive or to rewrite and all of that, making this system more tense for students, making it more difficult, and people haven't recreate our system, whether we accept it or not. And there's something our educational system is not doing, and there's also something that WAEC is not doing concerning reducing this problem year in, year out. And until we're ready to sit down and do the work as is expected regarding the future of exams and education in this country, I think we'll keep seeing the numbers of
with health results increasing.
Increasing over the
Honestly,
years.
I totally agree with you, because while you were talking, I was just trying to wrap my head or trying to figure a way out. Just like you said, will holding back the results solve the problem? Of course it won't. All right, why don't we see an educational sector that looks at, okay, what are the students best on? Are you more can you do better practically or better theoretically? You get it? Because we have students that when it comes to practicals, they do excellent. But then when it comes to reading and then having it up here and writing it down, it's a problem. We have that. Why don't we see our educational sector growing to that level where it's okay, we have different students? It has gotten that bad, Richard, that just like I said earlier, where we have even the WAEC officials getting involved. Yeah. I know of, or I've actually seen a scenario whereby those who paid for their malpractice or for, answer sheets are being put in this row, and those that did not pay are put in this row, just so that you don't have a way to maybe people ask your friend that was able to pay. How are we helping this generation? So just like you clearly stated, there is a lot of work to be done. We saw where the Ministry of Education is talking about changing the curriculum for secondary school by September. But I hope it goes beyond just changing it. I hope it goes beyond the teachers ready to put the work, teach the students properly, so that when they write WAEC, at least let us have the time where you can write WAEC once and for all, and then you're done. You see somebody writing WAEC 3, 4. We have of people that even say it's just they're waiting for when WAEC or JAM will give them a share because they have written. This is the way things have gone. Honestly, so we look forward to seeing, a better way of that. Now, we will record during the protests. There was a raiding in the NLC complex. And of course, they were back and forth. NLC saying they're going to sue the police, invading their privacy, and then a number of rumors and talks saying that, okay, they are actually part of those who are sponsoring, the protest, back and forth and all of that. But then finally, we are having the police responding, defending the fact that they actually did not invade the office of the NLC. Rather, it was a complex, the second floor. And because there was someone who was actually more like a suspect, that they were looking not for the person, but looking for incriminating evidence. That was what they were looking for, and they have gotten what they wanted. But then I don't think this is over, because as far as NLC is concerned, they are more, the government is more like monitoring them. They are treating them more like talks, treating them more like they actually do not have a say. We've seen where, the NLC have been having issue over and over, but then it is what it is. The police are coming out to defend themselves, that this is not a direct attack to you in any way. We're just looking for certain evidence, and we have gotten the evidence we're looking for eventually, none of that.
At the same time, the police is also saying that the NLC might have to answer the probing concerning this person implementing documents and all of that. And yes, the police beating around the bush and say, no, they didn't come for NLC and all of that. But when you, and it's not the hashtag end bad governance, yes, not related to it and all of that. But when you look at what they are looking for, this person for subversion and all of that, it relates to everything NLC. It relates to everything hashtag end bad governance protest. It feels very much affiliated. So the police can say, no, we didn't come for you, but on the other side you have to answer. The NLC cannot help but actually think and say, you know what, you're coming for us because this person is just above us, is a whole tenant, we're all renting this place. The NLC is expected that, of course, there shouldn't be any criminal activities in a complex where people with right standing and dignity are there and all of that. No matter what the situation is, it implicates the NLC either way, directly, indirectly, in whatsoever form. So it is no doubt that, of course, the NLC will speak up about it and not be comfortable about it, because we've had series and series of concern. We know what the NLC stands for, their position with the government and all of that. So if they have this concern, they are not out of place. And then it's also clear for the police to come out and be able to clarify certain things. But still yet it links them in a lot of way, and they really need to come out and clear the NLC from all of these. And who is this person? Maybe eventually we will get better information from the police.
You know, honestly, because I believe that this is far from being over. That is just something I know. It's far from being over, because tomorrow we might wake up to another counter defense coming from NLC, stating the facts about all of these issues concerning whether or not raiding is the right thing. And then we just have to look at all of that. Now, still looking at some of the issues happening, the hashtag EndSARS. Now, I say EndSARS, hashtag End Bad Governance. I mean, they are related, so whether we like it or not, they are one and the same. They are quite related. But then we're saying that has actually affected our economy directly, because you will tell that, I mean, during that hashtag End Bad Governance, we had a number of states that went, there was curfew because of the issue escalated, and then eventually we saw some people looting, causing confusion, breaking places and all of that. And now we're seeing that particularly right in Kaduna right now, the prices of food is very high. And you could actually tell that even during the curfew here in Plateau State, a vegetable then that you do buy for 15 naira, I was surprised as of last week. The vegetable, I mean, you get to certain places and you realize that vegetable, a bunch was more like 200 naira, 100 naira. And then they were looking very, I know that, I mean, at a time like this, we're expecting that vegetables should be cheaper because it's the rainy season, even though we've not seen rain in quite a while. But then it's expected that there are certain perishable vegetables that should be cheaper, but we saw it being expensive. And of course, a number of people can argue to say the fact that, you know what, this protest actually took us backward rather than taking us forward. I'm saying that is the effect in Kaduna State. People complaining the prices of food commodities are extremely high because of the protest. And I know this is just for Kaduna, but I can tell that other states will actually have their own, way of saying the fact that this is what is happening because of the protest. Right now, things are people are gradually trying to, businesses coming in gradually. But I believe that it will take maybe about the next 1 to 2 weeks for things to be stabilized, and then maybe we'll begin to see flow of food around the various states in the nation.
So that the protest was not to fix the economy, was to tell the government we do not there are certain policies that is not. So of course a protest will definitely affect economic activities, and that's why we see the government telling NLC, don't go out, don't go on a strike, it's going to jeopardize the economy and all of that. But a message needs to be passed. A protest has no capacity to fix the economy of the country, just people voicing out. Yes, Kaduna people might talk about this, but I think even on the plateau, because recently my mom bought spinach, and if you saw, it was sold to her at 300, and it's not even worth 15 naira. Like the spinach, we know how it is not an expensive vegetable of every other vegetable, and it was, if you won't even believe it, like 300 naira, and the quantity was like, wow, are this market people serious? It felt everywhere. But certain people in certain region, it might be worse and all of that. But even the availability, certain activities didn't happen and all of that. So yes, it's going to affect market things. But Sele, majority
the factor, the number one leading factor when there is such increase in the price of food automatically in the market is mostly human related. It's just a scarcity created by because the activity, we didn't have a month of no movement. It was partial. We had one day of 24. The following day it was relaxed. The third day it was relaxed, and all we kept on witnessing was relaxed activity. So automatically, and it's not even in every area. In all of the states that the curfew was being imposed, it was not in every
local government
exactly
areas.
So when you see, you just have to know that one of the number one factor would definitely be people being opportunists and taking advantage of the situation, because they know, you know what, I want to get this food and go back home. Whatever is the price, people will take it and get back home, because now it's more of survival than you trying to bargain and something like that. So it's a mixture of all of that. And then this is where I think Nigerians, we also need to be better citizens, most especially for people in the market.
Honestly, because it's more like people look forward to a time like this to just exploit people and
Yes.
money. Just like you mentioned about the spinach. I mean, I think I wanted making soup, was it that last week? And I was surprised. This on a normal day, you could just get an okra for 300 naira,
Yes.
ugu leaf, or, you know, and all of that, and you're done. But then, I mean, you spend twice the price to be
Exactly.
able to make the same quantity and get quality while eating. So
Yeah.
we just hope that we'll learn to be our brother's keeper
Yes.
and not allow, you know, times like this to make us to exploit one another eventually. Well, I guess that's how far we can go this afternoon.
sir.
Thank you, Rich, for the
You're
recipe.
welcome.
Thank you as well to our viewers, supporters, as well as the entire production crew. We look forward again to doing this tomorrow. Please to have a blessed day ahead.